Working is presented by Maya Strategy Group, a leading market research and strategy consulting firm, helping clients in the pet care and animal health industries navigate strategic challenges for almost 2 decades.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Pet Working. I'm Peter Kenseth, Vice President and Partner at Maya Strategy Group, and I'm here today with Dr. Catherine Ruggiero, Senior Manager of Scientific Communications for Hills and a board-certified veterinary nutritionist, which I was just informed there are only 89 of in the entire country. I thought the number was closer to 200, but I was more than doubling the size of the cohort. So we are very excited to have Dr. Ruggiero join us today. And we're going to be talking about some of the new innovations that Hills unveiled at WVC, and prior to that, VMX. But I was just at WVC, where Hills had 2 really cool booths. They separated the science diet from the therapeutic diet. So there was a therapeutic diet booth, which had a really cool kind of pick your own functional nutrition a la carte event, which was a really cool follow-up to the Taste Pop that they did last year. I very much enjoyed snacking on almonds and chocolate and pumpkin seeds as I walked around the show. It pretty much saved me from getting lunch the second day of the conference. And then on the science diet side of the booth, they had juices. But the really cool thing, aside from the nice snacks that all the booth attendees got to consume, the really cool thing I saw there was, the focus on the microbiome, which, is becoming increasingly more prevalent and topic of conversation in the pet nutrition space. And then the introduction of a brain care and joint diet, which had some special significance for me because as many of you listeners will know, my dog Peony is 10. Right before WVC, she started to exhibit some arthritis symptoms. So one of my personal focuses for the show was looking at, ways to mitigate and alleviate that so I can keep her out skiing with me. But we have Dr. Ruggiero here today to talk to us about the microbiome and about the brain care and JD diet, and really looking forward to the conversation. Dr. Ruggiero, thank you so much for joining us, and welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Peter. This is so great that we get a chance to chat about these exciting topics.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, I remember a few years back, I think it was 2020, 2021, when Hills first introduced ActivBiome. And I think back then, the microbiome was, and in some ways for a lot of people still is, one of those buzzwords. Everyone knows you want to have a healthy microbiome. People hear microbiome, they associate it with probiotics, prebiotics, postbiotics. I don't, we try to educate and make sure that everyone understands the difference between all of those. But I think for a lot of people, it's something that they're still struggling to wrap their heads around. And I think it's an area where there's still a lot of research being done in the pet nutrition field. Talk to us, as Senior Manager of Scientific Communications for Hills and, a board certified veterinary nutritionist. Talk to us, how do you explain this, both to the veterinary community, and then how do you educate the vets to articulate the benefits to pet parents so that they know what the benefits that they're giving to their pets, with ActivBiome and other microbiome focused supplements.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right that I think it totally, we can call it a buzzword. It's kind of hot on the human side. It's hot in the veterinary side to be talking about the microbiome. And, thinking about the microbiome as really this complex community of bacteria, other microorganisms, fungi, and they all kind of live in one environment. Usually we're talking about the gut, but we know there are microbiomes on the skin and in the urinary system and in the, oral cavity. There are these different kind of communities of bacteria. We've always recognized, or maybe for a while now have recognized, that it's important to have, a healthy gut. But when we actually look at that gut as a microbiome, as this conglomeration of all of these, living organisms that have effects all over the body, that not just on gut health, but we know these organisms within the gut can have effects on other organs, and it can have effects on the brain and the kidney and other far-reaching parts of the body. That idea of feeding the gut and keeping the gut healthy becomes even more important. So that microbiome kind of being in the gut, especially being kind of this basis of health and immunity, and then having effects when there's also animals that are not healthy. That's really where all the research is heading right now, is how do we support this microbiome, again, particularly in the gut, but even all these other microbiomes, to make sure that we are maximizing immune system health, that we're protecting pets from pathogens, that we're supporting barrier function, that we're helping to fuel production of metabolites that have far-reaching health effects. And it's a really exciting area of research, because we just know that if we can feed this microbiome with things like prebiotics and high quality nutrition, we can have some really profound ramifications on overall health throughout a pet and a human's body. We should all be thinking about our microbiome health too as people, but particularly in the pet space, there's a lot of great work that Hills has been doing for a while now to show that, hey, if we give this combination of fibers and nutrition, we can make a significant impact here.
Yeah, and just so people are clear, when we say prebiotics, that is essentially just fiber, right? We're giving the body the fiber to break down that then turns into healthy bacteria. The probiotics, certainly you can supplement that with probiotics in the food. And then postbiotics, which I think are something that a lot of people struggle to wrap their heads around. Those are the waste product from the probiotic bacteria, right? In layman's terms. And so you
Yeah.
can add those in the form of yeast and things like that. But again, I'm not a pet food manufacturer or a board certified veterinary nutritionist, but my understanding has been prebiotics and postbiotics are the easier ones to add into a pet food, whereas probiotics, because they're living organisms, present more of a challenge, because you can't put them through an extrusion process, you can't subject them to high heat, things like that. So that's where prebiotics and postbiotics become even more important, and then you need to find those ways to get the probiotic in there, and that can either be through like coating after the extrusion process, or things like that. Correct?
Yeah, and I like to think of it kind of if we think of it almost linearly too, of that, the prebiotics being the food for the bacteria simplifying it, right? But the food for the microbiome, the probiotics being the actual bacteria, and the postbiotics kind of being the things that they produce. It, from a nutrition standpoint, always makes good sense to me that we would start upstream, right? And we'd provide the food in the form of prebiotics. And then if we're providing the right food, the rest should kind of follow, because every living organism has this microbiome. We don't have to populate it, right? We all have a microbiome. What we can do with those prebiotic fiber sources is kind of help direct what kind of microorganisms are present in the microbiome. And we can help influence what that population looks like to be one that produces lots of those positive postbiotics, because those postbiotics, as you said, are kind of what comes after, what those probiotics and healthy bacteria, or even not healthy bacteria in the gut are producing. If we can kind of dictate what's being produced on the very downstream effects, then that's what ends up having far-reaching benefits across the body. That's what ends up impacting immune health. It's not so much the fiber itself or even the bacteria that are there. It's the stuff that bacteria produces that either helps right at that gut level to improve immunity, or we are recognizing more and more that there are compounds that are produced that then cross from the gut into the bloodstream and go other places and have benefits on other places throughout the body.
I wanted to ask about that because I've heard, like the skin has its own microbiome and other parts of the body have their, there's a gut microbiome. Does the health of the gut microbiome then influence the health of like the skin microbiome? And so it all starts from the gut, but you know, I'm assuming there's some external factors that affect these other microbiomes within the body, but talk to us a little bit about, it all starts with the gut, then through the bloodstream, does that influence the skin microbiome and the other microbiomes within the
Yeah.
body?
Yeah, I mean, I think of the gut as the priority again, just because I'm a nutritionist, right? And all the foods passing through the gut, and so that's where we can make the biggest effect with diet. The other microbiomes, if you think of them as kind of just a collection of bacteria that exist in one specific space, there are other ways to affect. You can affect the skin microbiome with topicals, right? So my dermatology colleagues would probably have a lot to say about the skin microbiome and what they can do topically to affect that. As a nutritionist, I'm most interested in what starts in the gut, because that's the direction that food's going. It's going to go into the gut. But what we know is whatever is happening in the gut, and whatever happens within that microbiome does have effects on kind of all the other microbiomes in the body. And I guess, maybe even more importantly, all those organ systems in the body. So even if it doesn't work directly through the skin microbiome, we know that we can get benefits to skin health from a healthy immune system that starts in the gut. We know, about 70% of the body's immune system lives within the gut. So we have a lot of opportunity to influence just overall immunity and health by focusing on the gut microbiome. It's absolutely not the only microbiome. It's definitely one that's well studied, especially in veterinary medicine, compared to some of the other microbiomes where we're just kind of starting to learn about, what bacteria or microorganisms actually exist there, what should be there, what shouldn't be there, what indicates health, what indicates disease. We've got a little bit more knowledge about those different parameters on the gut side, just because it's been studied a little bit longer in vet med.
Yeah. I mean, when we talk about that, one of the things I see, is becoming an increasingly hot button topic is this idea of healthy aging, longevity, vitality. Obviously, if 70% of the body's immune system is in the gut, the healthier your gut is, the longer you're going to be around. If you're not getting, sick and your body's clearing things appropriately, if your pet's body's clearing things appropriately, do you see, this stemming into functional claims for healthy aging, vitality, longevity, the more it's studied?
Yeah, I think we're kind of in that infancy, but that's exactly kind of the idea behind some of these prebiotic fiber blends that Hill scientists have developed. And ActivBiome Plus multi-benefit, that's the one that we have put into a lot of our science diet, our wellness products, for healthy pets. And it's exactly for the reasons that you've mentioned, that we know this blend of prebiotics are going to help build a foundation for really lifelong health by supporting digestion, by supporting the immune system in the gut, by supporting organ health, all by working through that gut microbiome. So, between a blend of fibers and antioxidants, the goal is to have that, lifelong health in healthy pets. So we're really concerned about feeding, these prebiotic fibers and feeding the microbiome of the healthy pet, so we can have as much health for as long as we can.
Right. So, so all the active biome is really just focused on prebiotics. There's not like a probiotic component to it, correct?
Yeah, the ActivBiome Plus blends are prebiotic fiber blends. They're not probiotics. They also contain, depending on the blend we're talking about, we've got some different blends geared towards different organ systems and different, either health or disease states. So, ActivBiome Plus digestion is the kind of the original that was in gastrointestinal biome when that food launched, and has now made its way into quite a few of the GI diets, on the therapeutic side, but also on the wellness side. And that's the blend of, really, it's just prebiotics. I say just, but it's a really quite elegant blend of different prebiotic fibers that we know clinically can activate the gut microbiome to support digestive health. ActivBiome Plus, multi-benefit is a different blend of prebiotic fibers for gut health, but also has antioxidants in it. So it's not just the prebiotic fiber blend, it's kind of the antioxidant blend as well. ActivBiome Plus Kidney Defense, we've got, a blend of prebiotic fibers specifically for, pets that have kidney disease to help activate that gut microbiome to reduce waste products that can be harmful that build up with kidney disease. And that also contains some other ingredients, contains betaine. So it's prebiotics plus these other ingredients, in that case an osmolite, in some cases an antioxidant that we know is going to not just help support the gut microbiome, but support the entire health immune system of that animal that we're trying to kind of support with microbiome science.
It's really cool. I mean, I personally hadn't realized until this conversation that you can, it's not just fiber. That's a really interesting, learning for me. And I think for a lot of us, I know in my own nutrition, I'm looking, on the label, how many grams of fiber, and not necessarily thinking like, oh, there's different types of fiber that I could ingest that are going to influence different, uh, postbiotic production in my gut. But it seems like you guys have figured that out from an animal perspective to influence that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's true, I think for a while, even in the nutrition community, we thought fiber is fiber is fiber, right? And now we're realizing just not all fiber is created equal. There are some types of fiber that really have a specific role within the gut. When they get into that gut, they can help promote the production of these postbiotics that improve immunity, that normalize stool quality, that have these effects on waste products from kidney disease. So it's really kind of tailoring that blend of fibers to be ones that we know are not just fiber, but they're prebiotic fibers, meaning they're going to be utilized by the gut and they're going to be utilized by that microbiome to have certain effects, certain benefits. And that's an area of research that Hills has been involved in for over a decade now, but also that we've partnered on the human side to say how can we translate some of this, because this is interesting to all of us, right? Just as you said, you look at a fiber label, I mean, this is interesting to everybody. So we actually do have a really exciting partnership with the TH Chan School of Public Health at Harvard. And we've established a One Health microbiome resource with them, which is really it's the largest, most comprehensive reference database to just provide this platform dedicated to both human and companion animal microbiome research. So we know these things all kind of interact together, and if we further one, we're furthering all of them. But it's with this idea that, there's so much we're learning about the benefits of fiber, prebiotics, microbiome health that we can apply across species to help both people and pets, which is really why we're all here.
Yeah, no, I mean it's kind of mind blowing. I mean, I feel like more and more we're seeing. I think the old rule of thumb used to be, pet nutrition followed human nutrition and animal health followed human health, but increasingly, we're seeing breakthroughs and developments where animal health is leading human health research. I mean, we see it with Loyal for Dogs, and that makes sense to me. It's a lot easier to conduct aging research with an animal that's average lifespan is 12 to 15 years than one that's average, 72 to 80. So that makes sense. But with the microbiome and being able to map specific types of fibers that, we're not taught that in human nutrition. We're taught to diversify, eat lots of different types of green vegetables, and there's different amino acids and things like that. But understanding like there's a direct link between the type of fiber that you eat and the postbiotics that are produced in your gut. That's, can you talk to us a little bit about, we've had, episodes with forget the producer. Dustin's going to kill me, but with miscanthus grass as a fiber component in pet food versus, and the benefits it has versus chicory root from like a sustainability perspective, like what are the different fibers, what are the different natural sources of fiber that you're identifying to say like, okay, we need to be putting these types of fiber in?
The answer is it depends, and it depends on what the goal of the fiber blend is. So, in the ActivBiome plus digestion blend, it has pecan shells is one of the fiber, products that are in there. And that combined with, cranberry, and there's, a whole kind of blend of fibers all together work synergistically to really improve stool quality. That's what the clinical studies have shown. And then when we actually look at the postbiotic production, that's what we've been able to see. But you compare that to ActivBiome Plus kidney defense, the one for kidney disease, and that has oat beta glucan, totally different prebiotic fiber, because we've got a different goal in that case. Our goal is not necessarily to, support digestive health, it's to support kidney health. So that has a whole different type of fiber. And, the ActivBiome Plus multi-benefit has things like fructooligosaccharides or FOS in it. That's a pretty well-known, well-studied prebiotic that's really great for both digestive, but also just supporting immune health and organ health. So it really depends on the type of what your goal is and the type of blend that you're using. But that's a lot of what our very brilliant scientists do, is kind of go through these databases of ingredients to see what can we use and what kind of works synergistically with the rest of the product, because we're also not feeding these prebiotic fibers in a vacuum. They're being fed as part of a complete and balanced diet with other high quality ingredients that are specifically chosen for whatever the goal of that food is. So how can we incorporate these types of fibers into this already high quality nutrition to get the benefits at the gut microbiome level in particular? So the answer is it kind of depends on what fibers we use. And, one of the things I'm always excited about is we've got scientists working and have been working on this for a really long time that, they have databases I'm probably not even aware of, really cool ingredients that we start to see when we get these great new innovations coming out of blends of prebiotic fibers that we then have the studies to say, hey, this is what they do. We've studied them, we know what they do, and this is the blend that we're going to, be using moving forward in this food or that food. I think for me too, the most exciting thing has been seeing some of that come across to the science diet or the wellness space, because it could be something we kind of just reserve for, sick pets. But we know every animal has a gut, right? Every animal has a gut microbiome, and it's something that we can do to influence health. Everybody's feeding their pet. So if we can incorporate it into what's already a high quality, complete and balanced diet, we can really get some of those benefits that are cutting edge science, quite frankly.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, do you see down the road, is there like an opportunity to have like an ActivBiome supplement? Is that like a possibility? Um,
I don't know. Again, I kind of look at things from such a holistic nutrition approach that I don't know how that would work. Prebiotics work best and are best accepted kind of and consumed as part of a complete food product. But I would say never. I get asked a lot. I get asked a lot by, people, fellow veterinarians will say, hey, can you just package this up for me? I'd really like some ActivBiome Plus digestion in a little capsule or something. So, the goal has been to incorporate it into the whole food, and that's where we see the most benefits when we combine it with all the other ingredients that are in the foods. But it's certainly a possibility. On the supplement side, the supplements, as you've already mentioned, have sort of been more focused on the probiotic and the postbiotic world rather than the prebiotic world. The prebiotic world is really kind of lived within the package of food for the most part, because fiber is already an ingredient that can be used in food.
yeah. Yeah. No, it makes total sense. I mean, and um, it it is one of those those things that you you think about, but you don't. I feel like it's come more and more to the forefront all the time. And you talk about the whole food approach. I think that ties back very much to kind of the theme that we saw at the Hills booth at WVC with the different whole food options and the a la carte kind of um, you know co-op style bar, but kind of shifting gears a little bit. I mean, it seems like a similar approach to kind of what you guys took with the cognition and joint diet is and that was what was re-emphasized at the end of that presentation by selecting the different whole foods is like this is what's going into this diet and what you were just saying and taking that whole food nutrition approach. I'm assuming it's in the same way you approach it with ActivBiome, same philosophy applies to the cognition and joint care diet.
Yeah, Brain Care Plus JD, which I'm just so excited about. And as a fellow senior dog owner, I'm looking at my guy sleeping in the corner right now, and he's 15 and a half. He's going to be 16 in May. So I mean, like he's doing great, but I can't wait for this, this diet to be in my hands because it just marries things for senior dogs, especially, and senior cats. We have a cat version too, so very well. But that it is again this idea that we can kind of prepackage a lot of this science into something that's easy and pets love. And that's, in my mind, that's really what Brain Care Plus JD is it's all of the amazing cognition research we have on antioxidant blends that we know do things like increase alertness, improve disorientation, support memory. I mean, that research, that foundational research has been done and been present for a while in the canine community, at least with prescription diet BD. But we've now taken that and combined it with all of the really well-studied, well-established research on maintaining joint health. And we've put those two into a food together since a lot of these patients are going to have both problems at the same time. As they get older, their cognition is going to decline, as is their joint health. So that's exactly, kind of what this Brain Care Plus JD line is designed to do, is to address the cognitive dysfunction and the joint disease or compromised mobility that we see happen so frequently in older patients into one kind of whole package, one whole food package that also, tastes great, supports immune health, has just great overall senior profile for our older patients in terms of what they need to support muscle mass as they age.
Yeah. No, I mean, I would imagine, prior to introducing this, you probably saw a lot of pets that had to, be on multiple diets and
Yeah.
you're combining that functionality and it has active and the Cognition Plus JD has ActivBiome in it as well, right?
That one actually does not have one of the ActivBiome Plus blends in it at this point. We are really relying on the antioxidant blend that's in that food, which isn't prebiotic fibers. So it doesn't have that ActivBiome, plus moniker that the other blends have. It has an antioxidant bundle in it. That's also quite special, a combination of some, different, vitamins and other ingredients that we know provide antioxidant benefit.
Sure. Well, I'm assuming, given the way you've rolled ActivBiome out, it might not be long before that's there as
I'm
well.
sure
So,
they're working on, yeah, they're always working on something exciting over there. The other kind of category of food that on the therapeutic side that we're launching this year is called multi-organ, and that does have ActivBiome Plus kidney defense in it. So it's designed to be, food for patients with multiple organs affected, the kidney being one of them. And so we've put that ActivBiome Plus kidney defense into that formula. So again, it's kind of as we learn more about the microbiome and what prebiotic fibers and antioxidants and other ingredients can kind of help support pets with, compromised, plug in your favorite organ here. We have, been able to kind of customize the blend that goes into a lot of these foods. So yeah, Brain Care Plus JD right now has a really, really sophisticated antioxidant and fatty acid blend, and that's where we get the huge benefits for that food. The multi-organ has also has some great antioxidant and fatty acid profiles, but it also has that ActivBiome Plus, that prebiotic blend for kidney health.
And is the multi-organ and the Cognition Plus JD available now, or will they be available later this year?
They are available now-ish. I mean, they should be shipping now. So we announced them at VMX in January, and as of March of this year, should be available to order. So we kind of have our first really exciting round of new food, new innovation that's available for folks to try and get some of these sometimes more difficult patients to manage with diet, to get them kind of settled on something that we know is going to help.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Dr. Ruggiero, this has been fantastic. I've learned a lot, and I wish there were more board certified veterinary nutritionists because it's really helpful to have this broken down for us in a way that we can understand as pet parents, and I'm sure when you're communicating with your fellow veterinarians, it's an even more enlightening conversation because they have the healthcare and animal healthcare knowledge that us pet parents don't. So thank you for all that you do in helping to communicate the benefits of these foods to veterinarians and concurrently to us pet parents as well. But really exciting stuff that you all are doing, and I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us about it here today.
Thank you so much for having me.
No, this is great. Well, on behalf of Dr. Ruggiero, everybody, this is Peter Kenseth with Pet Working. Appreciate you all taking the time to listen, and hope you learned as much as I did today. This was I'm going to be looking at my different types of fiber and seeing how I can adapt my diet and peonies as well. So this has been great. Dr. Ruggiero, thank you again, and we'll talk to y'all again soon.
Bye.